Good morning. We're down to Berkey getting our ripper tractor. Checking some stuff out here this morning. Dad said the one morning he started up with a little white smoke. Let's see what it does today here. No, all good. So he got done ripping all of the bean stubble down here and did one field of corn stalks. And so we're done with the ripper at Berkey. And we're gonna run her home. Keep working up west. Brr! It is still a cold out. Down to low 20s this morning, so we'll let stuff thaw out. I don't know if we're gonna be able to shell any corn this afternoon or not. It would be really nice to be able to do some of that. But we got to get all the corn or the snow off of the corn stalks. Oh yeah, this is the first video I've made for a couple of days. We had some snow. We had about 4 inches of snow on Sunday morning, so it feels more like mid-January than mid-November around here. But it should warm up and melt off here quickly. I don't know if we're going to break freezing today, but tomorrow we will, and should be able to get back to shelling tomorrow, if not today. A week or so ago, a few days ago, I did a little talk about solar panels on farm ground and mentioned that there's a big 2,500 acre solar farm south of us, about 7 or 8 miles. I'm driving past it now, and somebody wanted to see it, so I thought I would show it to you. Best I can. We aren't going to see it all. Solar panels on both sides of this road. We're on one of the little side roads now. There's more behind us across the main road. More over here. This one kind of goes over through farther. Can't see them very well because we don't have an aerial view. If I had my drone, if we would throw that up, it would give you a much better perspective. There's a bunch over here. More back there. More up here. Coming over the bridge. There's some more. Go all the way through to the next road, I think, that mile over that way. And then we've got more over here. Yeah, this is a pretty big one. I've never driven down this way to see how far they go, actually. Kind of just drove around the block. Here's their substation that they put in when they put those panels in. And we're kind of back up to the main road. This is US 20. If you look over there, you can see the ones that are on the north side of the main road there. So, I don't know. There's a lot. There may be 2,500 acres or maybe it's 2,000 acres in the project. It doesn't look like quite that many acres of actual panels to me, but it'd be really hard for me to add them up without knowing a little bit more information about it. So, anyway, there it is. I'm not here to argue good or bad in this video. I'm just showing it because somebody had expressed interest in seeing that. If I happen to get past the other solar farm that just went in, it's probably, it might be 20 miles from here to the south and west. Sometime I'll show you that one too. It's not quite as big, but there's a bunch there too. Phil's still hauling some dry corn. Yesterday he hauled dry corn all day and was working on drying corn out of our wet bin that we had ended with full on Saturday. So it is about empty now. We've just got the one bottom light on, dryer's running, and we're just putting it up into the overhead. So I'm going to stick around here and watch that because the last thing we want to do is overflow our overhead bin. And he's going to keep hauling some out here. We'll try and get that empty. The grain bins are basically full. We might be able to put a few 3,000 bushels or so into the big bin yet. Everything else is full except for now the wet bin. So we've got 125 acres of corn or so to dry or to shell yet. Should be 25 to 28,000 bushels, somewhere in that ballpark. And so we've got to keep hauling some grain out in order to make room for that. So that's okay. We had 50,000 bushels that were for fall delivery, fall contracts that we had sold throughout the year that needed to be delivered this fall. We're still filling those contracts. We knew we were going to have to move some and not be able to store it all. Anyway, that's intentional because, well, we need money for cash flow purposes in the fall. And so Phil's working on those contracts right now. It's going to be close to see where we're at when we do end up, getting done and how much more over our contracts or whatever we would have to haul in to get done. So I'm hoping that maybe later this afternoon we can go shell a little bit of corn, get some in the wet bin so that we could dry a little bit and then have a bigger day either tomorrow or Thursday or whatever. I don't know. We're hoping to finish by Thursday. I don't know if that's going to be possible just yet. Dad made it back. Yeah, I lost a closing disc arm. Bolt broke. Ah, doesn't look good at all there. There was one of those I had to weld up, I think. Maybe that was the one. I don't know. Our wet bin has run out of wet corn, so we turned our wet fill off. We're going to just let this... Yeah, we're just going to let it run until it shuts itself off. That way we'll get as much into the overhead as possible, although it doesn't matter. We've got one load up there, and we're not going to get a second one. It's so cold. All right, well, we're done with the drying the corn. Phil's head, I think he's tugging that last load in. I don't know if he's got any more than that or not. I drove by the cornfield that we still have to do yet. There's enough snow on the stalks yet that I'm not comfortable going and shelling today. If there's snow on the corn itself, we can have snow on the ground, but it can't be on the corn itself because it will plug up the sieves in the inside of the combine. So we're not going to shell corn. We are, however, going to go and try spread some fertilizer. So I've got a load of gypsum loaded up on the spreader right now, and we're going to go spread that out and then switch to potash, I think. Our gypsum pile is outside and it's got snow on it and it might be a little frozen, so I don't know how well that's going to go. The stuff in the spreader has been inside, or at least under cover, so it's not so bad, but I think we can spread potash just fine. Oil level was good. Let's see if the old 8R will start up okay. Come on, fire. She can be a little slow sometimes. Yeah. Need to be able to plug her in. Well, I had to put the jump pack on it, but we got it to start. Now we need to let her warm up for a little bit, including the heated seat. Let's push that button. Well, we're going to be able to see our spread pattern really well out here in the snow. So that's kind of fun. So the hydraulics on the spreader are run via a PTO pump, right? And so the hydraulics can kind of get cold and then things surge a little bit. I'm waiting for the oil to get warmed up so that the spinner speed stops surging. You can see that here. We want it to be at 600 and it's kind of bouncing between 550 and 650. And it's getting better. Getting some heat into it. So then we can go faster once we get that warmed up. But yeah, we've already got part of this field done. Did it a couple weeks ago or a week ago, whenever that was. Should have plenty on here to finish it right now, and then we'll see from there how much we have left when we're done. Yeah, you can definitely see the spread pattern back there. I don't know how well you guys can see it. Let's run the rear windshield wiper. Does that help? Oh, that makes it worse. That was not real smart. Well, you can see our strips down here. There's more fines in the middle of the passes, so the snow looks dirtier right behind. But if you watch, and you can kind of see, you guys probably can't see, but you can see a lot of spots where it's flinging out and hitting there, and I can watch the overlap in the patterns. It's really pretty neat to see here in the snow. That's kind of cool to watch that. So, the deer are out today. They don't care that I'm out here. All right, we've got this one done. Let's see, what does it say we've got left? Just under 4,000 pounds. Almost perfect, exactly what's supposed to be in there. There's a buck. Look at him. There he goes. Nope, not gonna run. over there. A pretty decent one. Now, this morning, I started a fire over here and burnt some cardboard and some stuff that we had. And our hunters will have you think that if you burn anything there, that no deer come in this area for a week. Well, I disagree. So it occurred to me while I was out there spreading that I should probably address the whole spreading fertilizer with snow on the ground type of thing. First of all, this was gypsum, and I guess you can consider it fertilizer. It's calcium sulfate. But the ground has snow on it. It is not frozen. We're not allowed to spread fertilizer on frozen ground. The ground's not frozen. It's very gooey underneath or soft. I mean, it's dry because we've been so dry. The top little bit is sort of gooey and stuff. But it's actually going to be really good to get this fertilizer out there before this snow completely melts off tomorrow, because that water will then percolate in through the soil and help it bind to the soil particles rather than run off the surface. What you don't want is to apply fertilizer to ground that is frozen solid that then gets a rain or snow on it where the water can't soak into the soil and it's just going to run off, because that'll carry your fertilizer and your nutrients with it. That's a bad thing. But that's not the situation we're at right now. I mean, 2 days below freezing does not freeze the ground. The ground is very warm underneath, and in fact, you can see it right in front of us here. If you look at the lane where the dirt was bare, I mean, we had a little grass behind this spot, but up here where the tracks were bare, the moisture or the heat from the dirt came up and actually has already melted the snow. We just have more residue out here, you know, where it's in the grass, and it insulates it a little bit from the heat from the ground. It's going to melt off very fast. The ground is not frozen. So we've got a little bit of gypsum left in there, so we either got to go and empty that or keep spreading gypsum. When I look at my piles here and see them covered in snow, I kind of wonder if maybe spreading the gypsum isn't a good idea. And that's why I was going to switch to the potash. But let's dig into the pile and just kind of see, how does it feel? What does it look like? Is it frozen? Yeah, that's chunky. Yeah, it's kind of frozen. Okay. That sort of tells me what I suspected, and it would break apart, but it's going to be a little chunky. At least the stuff on the outside. Inside the pile's not frozen. And then you're going to get all that snow mixed into it, so I don't think we want to do that. So I just came across the road. We're going to spread a little bit of this, or spread the rest of this gypsum out. There's only enough for like 4 acres. Dad's getting started with the ripper out here too, so he's going to get these corn stalks worked down, it looks like. Okay, we got our spreader set back up for fertilizer. We closed our gate down to 2 inches, put the divider in there, and get everything adjusted. We'll look at our potash pile over here. Clean and dry and not frozen. A little crust from absorbing some moisture, but that'll break apart. So let's go get our loader tractor and load up a load. All right, we used up some of the pile. We got a reasonably full spreader load. She's not packed clear full, but that's okay. Potash goes a lot farther than gypsum. We'll be able to spread for a while on this load. Okay, we got our controller and stuff set up on the spreader, changed for potash, so that is good. And I put in the weights from the scale, so that's all good. We need to load our prescriptions, and I got my book here with all of our soil sample result prescriptions in here, and we're going to look at these 2 that are highlighted here, 1-2 and 1-5. Those are the 2 fields that are right out here, the one that we just finished spreading, and the other one that was corn stalks there. And we're going to look at our potash recs here, and we need 160 to 230 pounds depending on the zone in that field. And in the back field we've got more zones, but 160, 230, there's one that's 200. So that means that I have some variable rates recs in my John Deere, and we need to send those to our display. So I'm going to do a screen record on my phone here and show you how I set up a work plan through the John Deere Ops Center and select those scripts and then send them. Now it's going to be vertical, so apologize for that, but Ops Center is only a vertical orientation on my phone screen here. Okay, so we've got our Ops Center opened up here, and we are on the 26 applications plan tab for 26 application, because this is a fertilizer application for the 26 crop. So we're going to hit the plus button here, and then we're going to scroll to 1-2 and 1-5, select both of those, and then hit next. We're going to select our crop. It's going to be corn, product mix, fertilizers, potash, and then we're going to modify individual fields. We're going to hit select prescription, and we're going to hit potash, and this is the target rate. Now you can see our zones here. There's the 230 and the 160 zones. Save that one. Do the same thing for the backfield. That's in here. And there's our zones. 160, 200, 230. And hit save and hit done. And then we're going to select all of our guidance tracks. Select the 8R, the BBI Magna spread, me as the operator, and hit save work. Now those popped up on our planned applications list here, so we're going to select both of those and hit send, and we want to send them to the 8R. Hit next and hit send, and shortly they're going to pop up on our display. Now we'll give them a second here to pop up, but we can start heading back to the field while we are right there. Planned work imported with errors. We'll see what the errors are when we get there, but so when we pull into the field, it should pop right up and load for us. We will start with this little field here. Pull into it, see right there. Okay, so there it shows up that, hey, you've got a planned application for this field. Is that what you want to do? We're going to hit the details just to verify. Implement BBI Magna spread. Bin 1, please assign product, multiple products available. Okay, we'll get to that. Guidance, everything is there. Let's hit that. We want potash. Okay, start. So now, there's our field, and there's the zones that we had on our phone. Everything looks good. We can get started spreading. Now we're putting much lower rates on here than we were with our gypsum, so we probably won't be able to see the spread pattern as well, but I bet if we got out and went and looked in the snow, we would still be able to see it. So this is a fertilizer product, heavier, more dense, and so we can spread it farther. 80-foot spacing instead of 60. And yeah, we'll see how this goes. So we're gonna make the perimeter. We might have to make some tweaks to our gate opening and stuff yet, just to make sure that our rate is correct. But we've done this before, we should be pretty close. Now potash that we are spreading out here is actually a salt. It's potassium chloride, not sodium chloride. It's potassium, so we're not adding sodium to the soil, but we are adding some chloride. And it is actually canned and is used as a snowmelt salt, an alternative to sodium chloride. And so we'll see if we melt all the snow off of our fields here. But we're essentially spreading snowmelt. For some reason, the last week or so, I've had a lot of trouble with my microphone on my GoPro. Some clips record just fine, some don't have any audio. This is one that didn't have audio. So I'm watching this, trying to remember what I was saying, and basically I think it was, everything's going pretty good. We're spreading the potash out. We were spreading in the same place where we had spread gypsum earlier in the day here, and we just had a couple more rounds left to finish the field, and we're going to have plenty of potash in the spreader. Something like that is what I said. All right, we are on the last pass. Unfortunately, on this one, it's a half a pass. Now, I don't want to skip it, so we're going to spread, and we're actually going to overlap a little bit with the pass from the outside. Not going to hurt anything. Just get a little extra potash out there. It cost me a little extra money, but the soil will hold it. So we've got around 9,000 pounds left in the spreader. There's our application map. You can see kind of the colors from our different zones. And we're down to 9,700 pounds in the spreader, so we're going to head back to the farm probably and refill. Actually, I'm going to do a little math, because there is a field right down the road here, but there's 36 acres in it, and I don't know if we'll have enough to do the whole thing. Well, when I got done with that field, I looked in my book here, this one, to see how many pounds we needed to spread this field that was just a half mile down the road from where we were. And it turns out I need like 5,500 pounds, and we had 9,000 left. So we should have plenty to spread these fields, so we decided to come down here and do it. So we'll get this one knocked out of the way. Now this field is going to beans next year. It is not going corn on corn. This one, the only reason we were spreading potash out here is because it got chicken litter last year. And while our chicken litter is great, there is not enough potassium in it to supply 2 years' crops. So it supplied the corn this year, but it would not have enough left for the beans for next year, so we put an extra 150 pounds of potash out here to feed next year's soybean crop. So that's why we're out here. There's a pickup truck parked over there. We've got some hunters out in the back. Probably aren't going to be real thrilled that I'm out here, but they'll get it. It's okay. All right, well, we got that field, both of those fields wrapped up there. And we're going to head back to the farm. It says we've got 4,600 pounds left in the spreader. That's not too bad. So I did stop at one point there and open our gate up a couple of turns because we weren't getting quite enough on. We're still just a touch light. 4,600 versus 44, 47. Yeah, so about 200 pounds light on probably 5,000 since I evened those out. So not terrible, but we'll try and keep dialing it in a little bit more. There's Dad. Ripping some corn stalks, working that snow under, getting all the free nitrogen out of it. Okay, I was on the phone, but we loaded the spreader back up, and we're going to keep spreading. These are some of the first fields we started with corn here at Waldron, so I'll get these ones done real quick. There's just 9 acres in this field. These are all straight rate, 150 pounds. Fields going to soybeans next year that we spread chicken litter on last year. So, yeah, pretty low rate for potash at 150 pounds, but we're just supplementing what the chicken litter had last year. We just don't feel like there's quite enough potash in that to supply 2 years of crops at 2 ton to the acre. All right, well, we got those 2 fields done. Yeah, we'll stop up here along the side of the road. I want to walk out there and look at the spread pattern in the snow, see if we can show that before we go on. It's going to get dark on us here, so. All right, so as we walk out here, and you can really see all the spots in the snow where that potash was hitting and has, buried in there, and you can see a few granules out there, so that's cool. You can kind of see our pattern. We'll walk out across and sort of towards the split here. Okay, so we're an 80-foot spread pattern, which means it should be 16 rows from the center of our tracks to the center of our spread pattern, which would be right here. This is the 16th. No, this one was the 16th row. Either way, you can see we've got stuff that's been thrown clear out here. In fact, you can see that we're spreading from both sides, because see how some of these are on an angle? Like this one's going this way, and this one's going the other way. So that's kind of the overlap in the center. See in the dirt there's some of our potash. So spread pattern looks good just from that kind of little being able to see it. That's kind of cool. But all right, we've got some left in the spreader, but it is almost 5 o'clock already. And given that we're not in a super big hurry, it's cold, and it's going to get dark soon, we're going to go spread out what we've got, but we're not going to load it up again tonight. So we're just going to go up to the field on the corner. Pretty sure that I know we need potash there as well. There's 128 acres in that field, so we'll use up what we got pretty easily, but we won't cover the field. Oh, I interrupted. I'm sorry. Sorry, Mr. Deer. At him staring at me like, what are you doing, jerk? Well, this potash that we had in the spreader is going to go farther than I was thinking it was going to. That's okay. We still got 7,000 pounds or a little more on, but it's going to get dark on us, so we're going to hit our lights. Ooh, fancy LEDs. Nice. Uh-oh, why aren't our back ones on? Brights. There we go. There we go. Windshield wiper again. So yeah, I still don't think we'll do the whole field here, but we're gonna get a lot of it done. We're already got 62 acres here. Yeah, we're gonna get real close to being done. Our lights give just enough. Yeah, the camera's going back and forth between night mode and it's got enough light. Those LEDs are bright. So we're about out. It says we've got about 250 pounds left in there, and so this is probably our last pass. We're gonna end up, what are we here, 1 round short? A little more than that. Zoom out. How do I zoom out? Can I just zoom out? Yeah, 1, 2 rounds short. So that's okay. We got more of it than I thought we were going to. We got 110 acres in this field already. Well, we're about 15 acres short of being able to finish the field. Should have squeezed another bucket in when we started. No, that's okay. We'll come back and get it sometime. Not a big deal. We do not have to do the field right next to it here and across the road because they did not get chicken litter a year ago, so they don't need the extra potash now. We put potash on them last year. I heard something making noise as we were going down the road, and I looked back and I could see sparks flying. Our safety chain came unlatched. Let's fix that. How'd that happen? Pull that back. That's got a hook on there. All good. Well, I ended up spreading 357 acres today. That's not too bad of a day for starting at like 1:30, 2 o'clock, whatever it was. So Dad got some ripping done. That's also good. We'll see what we can do tomorrow. It's supposed to warm up. The snow's going to melt off. I'm hoping we can shell some corn tomorrow, but it might be a little sloppy and greasy, and I don't know. We'll see what we do. Going to take us 2 days no matter how we do it at a minimum. Might take us 3 if we can't get rid of the corn fast enough. So we will see. But thanks for watching today. Have a great night. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and we'll see you again tomorrow. If we're not shelling, we'll at least be spreading fertilizer, doing something.